Like, I was like, hey, what's the recipe to this? I thought it was going to be some grand thing. And then she was like, just read the box. And I was like,
what? That's it. That's the secret. The secret was fucking methocellulose and fucking xanthan gum. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's it.
Yeah, right.
That's how they do it.
So that was sort of that once that clicked, I was like, holy shit, this all makes sense now. Like I finally feel like I have something to draw on, some metric for deciding what to make. And I realized how vast it was and how, like, to do it in a way that didn't feel like I didn't want to be the authentic. I didn't want authenticity to be my driving factor. I think authenticity in general is sort of somewhat of a trap for certain people.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a way to be like appropriative and like not do right by the culture that you're cooking or the food that you're cooking. And I didn't do this out of sort of a exclusively an awareness of that, but I was like, how do I cook food for myself that is inspired just by my own background?
Yeah.
Like my own experiences. Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, and by not claiming ownership of any of these dishes, like this is the recipe. I think that's where you get fucked up, is when you say it's the recipe.
Yeah.
This is the way. You know, we have a dish that's like a scallion pancake knish.
Right.
And I make a hot water dough, laminate it with like a oil and flour paste that has garlic and ginger and blah, blah, blah. And then I put potato and sauerkraut and all these things on the inside. I'm not telling anyone that this is the scallion pancake. Right. I'm not saying that it's the best version. I'm not, you know, I'm cooking a version of it informed by my own personal experiences, doing some research. That's not. So I think that's a portion of it. But once I realized, like, wow, okay, there's this really big, deep wealth of both in my own personal life. Like, my stepmother is Romanian. She grew up Greek Orthodox, like my grandmother, or, you know, religious. And then she converted to Judaism when she met my dad. But her food traditions are all Romanian, you know. But there's a lot of Jews that lived in Romania. You know, I make my yaya's recipe for spanakopita, but I add kale to the mix. I do more herbs than she would do. I do like a slightly different, you know, I make some modifications. And for the longest time, I was like, this is just a Greek dish I cook. I don't really think this is Jewish. This is just some shit I'm doing for my own personal background. So I was like, well, my family or, you know, friends of mine were Greek Jews and they were fucking, you know, they would make spanakopita for family. So that sort of sense of like, you know, these are some traditions that are incorporated by, but not exclusively. You know, it's not owned by, or, you know, no one owns fucking spanakopita. So, and that's not, you know, that is not holistically Jewish. The food I'm cooking isn't only Jewish, and I'm not saying that like because I'm Jewish, because I'm cooking it, it's Jewish. I'm a Jewish chef who's been inspired by these things, and that's how I'm cooking it. So,
right.
So
you have to get that message across all in one night.
Well, I think it's like, you know, you have to prompt people with like these experiences, and you have to create the openness to like hear them and have, you know, a conversation with them. You know, a tasting menu is not a great format for a conversation between the chef. It's sort of just like open your mouth, eat, chew.
Move on.
Yeah, move the fuck on.
Next course.
Write them in.
Third course. I've been up all night.
Yeah.
I got another one tomorrow. Let's go. They should really, what's it called? What's that place where they fucking have the front of the house offend you?
Oh, yeah, like a 50s diner.
I would
like
do
that.
a fucking
where the back of house offends
insult
you?
comic chef. Insult comic chef. It's a bar. You just get fucking roasted.
This fucking guy, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
No, allergic to fucking onions,
Hey, I see you're putting your olives to the side over there, you son of a bitch.
All you would have to do is just take down one of the walls of a kitchen, because I can promise you they're already doing that. That's already happening when you ring in your dietary ticket at a tasting menu. One night event in the middle of summer. And you have
this has happened.
A nightshade allergy.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
During the summer? I feel like nightshade allergies during the summer need to go the fuck away. They need to fly south for the winter.
Look, I can't imagine how terrible it must be to eat food
Fly
and make
south
it
for the summer. Go ahead.
fly
Sorry,
anywhere.
I got
fly
lost.
anywhere, but this dining
I got
room.
lost.
But how hard it must be to eat something for it to make you feel sick. That's terrible. That terrifies me every day. The thought of the sweet, tender embrace of a pastrami sandwich and being fucking that crazy red meat tick that like if you get bit by it, you can't eat red meat. Can you fucking imagine that? That would
Where's that at?
Apparently, there's some fucking tick that if you get bit by it, it makes you allergic to red meat.
Is it in the woods?
It's in the woods somewhere. I
these
think
ticks?
it's like in Florida, Texas. I don't know. I read about it and I immediately fear-mongered it and just got terrified.
It's all good. I don't go hiking for that reason. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to prove myself as an outdoors person.
My
And
socks
I'm
high
happy.
and my pants long.
You know what
That's
I mean?
my secret.
I like
to
my
happiness.
challenge to be, can I cook this quickly?
Yeah.
And can I show this guy to cook it quickly too?
Fucking, it would be terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should if we should cook for you or study you. Like I had nightshade allergy in the summer. Oh my God, it must be really challenging.
Right.
But I also I don't have a full fucking way to cook for you on short notice at a tasting menu. Like, what do you want me to do? Everything has garlic in it. Like someone came in with an onion allergy. I'm like, my whole fucking menu is onion and fucking garlic. Like, how do you imagine cooking something without onion and garlic?
Right. I love the restaurants, and we used to do this too, where we just skipped your course. Oh, you're allergic to that?
That's fucking brutal.
See you later.
Oh my God.
Hey, they can only have 13 of the 18 things. Straight up. Chef would be like, oh,
just like,
okay, boom, 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 boom.
You forgot? No, this one has onion. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Is there a restaurant I can go? Is there a
Yeah. There was an allergen matrix we had. So we knew already what the out of place was for.
And if you have an allergy.
Yeah. So the no nut menu was like, if there was heavy nuts in it, it'd be like, this is the no nut tasting
matrix,
menu.
And then if you do have an allergy, like Agent Smith from the Matrix comes in and fucking
literally pulls you
fucks
out
you up. Yeah.
To your own little private
Puts
dining
his
room by
fucking
yourself,
liquid
like
hand through
in
your
school
chest.
suspension.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
You have to eat like in school suspension. Substitutions.
No, I mean,
that should be a bar name or a strip club.
yes, substitutions.
Yes, substitutions.
What about no swimming allowed?
That's
I digress. That's weird. That's an
weird.
inside joke.
Where were we? Oh, your menus.
Yeah, menus.
We want to see your food.
Okay, cool.
You
So
brought 'em.
anyways, Hadeem, I figured it out. I was like, time to start doing pop-ups. Really, I feel an extreme luxury to have such many friends who are willing to host us for events. I feel like that was,
Your first friend was Morris. Morris.
Well, I came back from my Asia trip, and I was like, I want to start working on this thing. I'm planning a slew of pop-ups. My first pop-up was at Buddy, and I was working part-time at Buddy. I was working part-time at the Morris. My friend Alvaro was extremely kind enough to bring me into the space. He was like, this guy, the chef Sean, who's fucking amazing, needs some help on some days off. So I was like helping cook and do the thing. And then at the Morris, same thing. I was a cook for hire.
I like that though, to take a step back and be a cook.
It was really
Like
fun
that, you know
because
what I'm
I felt
saying?
like I was a much better line cook then than I was when I started. I was like, fuck, man, if I had any of this skill back then, I would
For sure.
Path. Oh
I'd have been the fucking Bocuse d'Or
Holy
winner
shit, dude.
over here. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. So that was great. I was kind of helping out, and I was like, okay, I was planning out and I was reaching out to friends. I was like, hey, this is the type of food I'm doing. I would love to do a pop-up here. And thank God for Buddy, because Buddy was like already hosting pop-ups on a regularly frequent basis. And I did some pop-ups during the pandemic. The name of the pop-up was it was a stupid joke, no swimming allowed. It was this long joke where basically the punchline is not funny, but by telling the joke, you have, you bring people along, and the person next to you who's you're telling the joke to, they know the joke, and they know that if I say no swimming allowed, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to laugh what the punchline is, but they're going to be uncomfortable because it's so long and not funny.
Right. So you're Larry David and Jerry Seinfelding them.
Exactly.
Right.
But it was
and then at the end of the meal, it's like you bring it all together.
You bring it all together.
Oh shit!
It wasn't funny. I want my money back. But I done pop-ups at a bar that Alvaro owned called Elda. So now the relationship, I was like, I would love to do the same, similar. I don't really know what the food is yet. I'm still figuring it out. And then, so I was doing pop-ups there. And then while I had the event coming up, I was like, hey, Gavin, is at the Morris, Gavin Schmidt. And I was like, can I do some prep here during the day? He's like, yeah, we don't really use the back prep kitchen during the day or during service. So that's when I started I would do prep for my events out of the Morris, which is fucking huge. And they have a tiny walk-in.
Yeah.
So I'm like standing on one leg like a flamingo, chopping. I've got a 9-pan on my head that I'm balancing while
Right.
people are
You're
prepping
just
around
making
me.
it happen.
Yeah, making it happen, But that was, and then I would do a lot of prep at Buddy when the days that they were closed and
Yeah.
stuff too. So that was sort of like how I got started. But I remember on the flight to Japan, I was like trying to figure out what the name of the pop-up would be, because I was like, the name felt important. It felt like something I had to like, I couldn't just do, and this is partly because I kept saying like, should we just call it No Swimming Allowed? And people were like, don't fucking call it that. Gina forbid me from calling it No Swimming Allowed.
Thank God, chef.
Yeah, honestly. And it's like no, comma, swimming allowed.
Oh.
No, swimming allowed. So like the thought, having to explain that to people, like
No, swimming allowed.
Like didn't make any sense. But I wanted to call it that, and many people steered me away. But it was like a fucking. But I was on the plane. I was like trying to figure out, a name that meant something to me, that implied the style of food that we were cooking. And like in Hebrew, there's a lot of like double consonant. Took for literally 8 hours to like explore a word that meant something, to me in a way that was like easy to write, and easy to pronounce for the Gentiles.
You could just, next time when you do your second place, just like, call it. Have you guys been there?
But like, rather than go to like the mildly Italian sounding name with a lot of vowels in it.
Right.
I was
just Tapazzinos.
Yeah, right. Or Azusa Pacific University.
I love Italian restaurants because they have so much balls. They just open up and they're like, hey, we're like this place and this place. Like, that's the concept. It's like, we take a little bit from here to over there. And that's what we do.
In the middle.
And it's like, okay.
Well, like with an Italian restaurant, if you like pizza, you just go try the new
That's
pizza
it.
restaurant. That's it. You're like, there's a new pizza restaurant. I want to go try it. You know nothing else.
San Francisco is pizza heaven.
Story. You're like pizza.
Right.
It's like that's the draw, And then if the pizza's really good, you keep going back, right?
Right.
But like the draw.
Pizza's bad. Not a lot. You won't go back.
No, I mean, in a moment of weakness, you definitely will.
Yeah.
With that late night pizza, you're like.
That actually sounds really good right now.
I would love to be the first.
Eat a pizza after this
interview that like someone we DoorDash a
pizza delivery. I'm down.
Guy walks, hey bro, can you want to sit down?
The only awkward thing is, you know what? Let's do it.
Answering the door.
Yeah, we'll just answer the door, have him come in here, have him hang out for a bit.
The door's open.
Interview him.
Just trust
not in
whoever walks
Oakland.
in.
Not in Oakland, motherfucker.
Hell
Fuck
no.
all that. But
we live stream it. Just
yeah, I mean, have you seen the ones where they take their Uber drivers and they'll be like, "Oh, you never been to Disneyland before?" And they're like, "You want to come to Disneyland?" And they pay them for the whole day, and then they go to Disneyland with them.
Cool.
It's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like the dudes who stand at like Home Depot.
You ever been on a podcast before?
Yeah. You ever been on a podcast before? That's not. Just pull up on a fucking pickup truck that's way too lifted. So when you stop, it just almost
fucking lurch.
It's like a
it's
fucking
the lurch after the suspension.
Sometimes I lurch in the kitchen. I just like walking too fast and just like.
I have like I was walking through the dining room at an event, and my friend, Gina's friends, like, Spencer's doing his little shuffle. I'm like, what do you mean, like my little shuffle?
Yeah.
It's like you kind of have like a little
You have
shuffle.
a villainous walk.
I think it's like.
I think it's pretty villainous.
I don't understand.
You know, remind me of
the least villainous guy.
The Who Framed Roger Rabbit bad guy. that's.
Someone said I walk like what's the Manny from Ice Age? What's the fucking sloth's name?
I don't know, but you know what I've noticed recently?
Because I put my hand in my little pouch in the.
Is that dude's name Manny?
I don't know if it's Manny or not.
There's people that have the bone structure of a sloth.
Which type of sloth? Sloth identity is very defined.
Ice Age.
What type of sloth?
Ice Age.
It's Ice Age sloth. Okay,
Yeah.
You're not
like the DMV scene in that fucking movie.
Yeah.
Forget what it's called.
Not
but,
like the fucking.
No, not like those. Like
the
that.
perk sloth.
Yeah, exactly. No, like that sloth in that. Is it a sloth in Ice Age? The John Leguizamo fucking
he's a sloth.
bone structure.
A sloth, yeah.
Yeah. I like the fucked up teeth. I seen it, bro. It's real.
So we did. So I was trying to figure out the name for the pop up. Right back to it. ADHD. We need a bell to like bring us back. We have a 30-second.
don't.
We have a 30-second side quest, and then once I hear the bell, I got to jump right back to the story.
This makes total sense to people who have ADHD.
They're like, I'm in it.
They're-
This is like VR.
The thing that fucks me up is like my bad memory also gets into play because I have low amount of sleep.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you never finished that story about this.
Yeah, you should pull Susio Talks for your most unfinished threads, and we can
For
address
sure.
them. Yeah. At the end of the episode, we'll get back on and finish the thread that you wanted to hear
That's
about.
actually good. That's
if you write in, if you saw a story that you didn't get resolution for, like, what was the last garnish that he had to go to the store and buy? Right. So
join my
Hadeem,
Patreon.
Yeah, right. Join the Patreon for all of the.
That's false. I don't have a Patreon.
But you can send him money if you want.
Exactly. You can.
Yeah, DMs are open.
Spotify.
Spotify.
Yeah, you can subscribe. It's $10 a month. Thank you for the only person who's ever done that. I'm forgetting their name now. So you don't really get much by doing it. So
I assume that the $1,000 I sent was a scam. Then I'm gonna go check my bank statement.
Yeah, check your bank statement. There's another Spencer
so weird.
Horovitz
You called and
in Nevada.
asked for my mother's maiden name and like just
right. Social security number. You're
Yeah,
like,
my favorite-
yeah, of course. Here you go.
what the favorite four numbers in my social security number are.
Right.
So the pop-up
Yeah.
means Hadeem, which means the echoes in Hebrew. So for multi-generational cooking, I felt like an echo was an apt metaphor.
Right.
Because, echo bounces off the walls and sort of, the sound changes, and but it's still inspired by something. All my friends who work in music, because I would say, like, an echo changes, the sound changes as it bounces, and they're like, the sound doesn't change, it decays, it gets quieter. And I'm like, don't fucking
Jesus Christ.
don't you dare
Don't
take
do
this from me. So, but the way that, like, the food has bounced around and changed, and like, oh, we don't have this ingredient sources, it felt very like a great metaphor. So, that has sort of informed a lot of like how we approach cooking and having it be inspired by my own personal background, and like both from a cultural standpoint, but also from like where I grew up. I grew up in LA and had like such fond experiences at like friends' houses, like where they would cook food that was like just their families. Cause like I remember my growing up in LA, like one of my friends was Iranian and his family made tahdig, and like they would make gourma sabzi, or going to friends' houses for dinners, and he's Vietnamese or Filipino, and just experiencing those cultures in someone's home is like very deep, integral memories for me.
Yeah.
And just all the flavors and the blend and spices and all the things that combine into like the world, the world that I live in, culinarily speaking. So doing pop-ups kind of like has been a great experience overall. We've done a lot. The first one was at Buddy, and then we released with like a tour. Basically, this is my sort of tips and tricks, things I recommend if you're that line cook, and you're like, man, my fucking sous chef's a fucking asshole, I want to start doing pop-ups.
Right.
I can fucking do that.
There you go.
If you go to pop-up and you didn't like the food and you think you can do it better, here's how you should do it.
Yeah.
Have a friend who will let you host a pop-up at their restaurant. 1, 2, start with great photography. Go find a friend who takes great photos, do a photo shoot. And if you can, Angelina Hong did all the first photos from my photo shoot. We still use the photos to this day. They're fucking incredible.
Yeah.
We did them in our backyard. Incredible.
That's
was one
amazing.
of my friend Allie did all the plates. Allie Jensen Ceramics. I used some for plates. My friend Dan, it was a lot of work, but it was very helpful as far as communicating that we're starting off on the right foot. Like, this is the thing we want to do. This is how we do it. Right. Starting with like a strong brand identity. And this is all thanks to like my fiance who works in social media, and her friend Ella, who did all the original like designs for Hadeem and stuff like that. Like designed all
the shirts, the merch,
the schmerch.
it's merchandise.
Shameless plug.
Fuck it. Do it.
I love
bro.
it. I know. I got to eat.
You got underwear? Hadeem underwear or what?
I mean, they're on Hadeem. They put the we in We Are Hadeem. You know?
Better. Dude, you put the we in We Are Hadeem?
That is not the first time I've used that line, but I will use it all the time.
You should use it all the time, and there should be a shirt and underwear.
Whenever I go to the table, like wringing my hands, like, like I say, I put the we in We Are Hadeem.
Dude, I would swimming trunks.
Right?
Bright orange. Your shit, Hadeem.
No. Swimming allowed.
Ooh.
Done.
Put that on the side, though,
right
on the
there,
bottom
secret.
side.
Don't tell anybody.
Hadeem
Don't let
real
anyone
big
know.
like a boxer.
Yeah, like it's fucking swimming trunks. I can see that.
Exactly.
Where were we?
I don't even know.
We need that was the bell.
Oh, we
talking about the steps.
We're in your
Pop-up
pop-ups.
steps.
Yeah, pop-up steps.
Okay, cool.
Your branding. Which you built a very strong brand.
Thank you. I
say.
appreciate that. Yeah,
And like people associate you with Hadeem, vice versa, and it's a lot. It's hard to do that when you don't have an English name, because sucio is the same thing. People are like, "What?"
It sounds so good though.
The fuck does that mean? I know. So does Hadeem.
Thank you.
But you have to explain it, and it takes a while to get some traction, because you're like, oh, what is, right? And there's other things that are not, like I talk to my boy Android Natera all the time of Chef's PSA. And I'm like, think about that. Chef's PSA. You know what that is. You don't have to question it. They're like, Chef Sucio Talks. They're like, okay.
But what is a name?
Chef Talks. The chef is the whole brand.
Yeah. Well, but I think that like part of that is they're like, what is this pop up? Oh, and it's just a blurry picture of like a fucking a plate of blah, blah, blah. So like
a guy looking up.
Yeah. People consume your social media in a holistic way. Right.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's a big piece of it. I think, is having this like sort of it doesn't have to be polished, doesn't have to be great, but it has to be thought out. Right.
Yeah.
Consistent color scheme and all that stuff, all those little things. Fucking edit your fucking post. Gina, thank God for all the people who have caught fucking typos. But I'm like, if it wasn't for my fiance, I'd be fucking, posting blurry ass fucking dishes and like unfinished content, confusing ass shit. So a lot of it, I just presenting that way holistically is important when you first start. And then also really defining what you want to do, right? How are you going to pay yourself? Going through all the appropriate channels, getting a business license, getting a fucking, do the work now, set up a specific bank account, all that shit. Be ready to do it, learn from it, ask your friends who have businesses. That like, there's no direct playbook other than realizing you don't know and asking people around you who do. I think unfortunately in the reality that we live in, still privilege plays a big piece of this.
Yeah.
Like I live in San Francisco and I was able to take a couple days off or a week off or time off. I saved money to go and spend time on this, like most people don't have the luxury of that, unfortunately. Like they're living paycheck to paycheck. They don't have friends who work at, these businesses or who have connections, and it's really hard to develop those. And it costs money when you don't have friends.
Right.
It costs more money, and it's like, that's an unfortunate reality. And I don't want to say that like, here's the steps, here's my steps. First, buy a house for $1 million, flip the house, lease the house, then you're a billionaire, then you buy your yacht. I bought my first yacht after 5 years. Like, fuck all that shit. All that fucking self-determinism bullshit. A lot of the, I stand on the shoulders of a lot of like, privilege. So just this is the reality of it, unfortunately. So I'm not going to fucking paint.
Well, here it is, man. When you say unfortunately, like it's not unfortunate that you had somebody worked to get you that.
My success is not unfortunate. It's not unfortunate that I specifically
have
it. It's unfortunate that everyone doesn't have the same pathway or ease of access to it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. But I think if they did, they would use it. You know
what
I'm saying?
I think that's a bigger conversation. I think that most people imagine trying to plan anything like this when you're working 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and you're like, and then you have to spend time off to go shopping and do a fucking photo shoot. And then you have other things going on, like let's say you're sending money to your family, or you have a fucking injury, a previous injury, or just fucking mental health, and you're depressed, and it's fucking hard to get out of bed on your day off.
Yeah, definitely.
Fucking clean your room or whatever. There's a lot of things that go into it, dude.
Yeah.
Like fucking, So it's a lot of little details, a lot of little things that go into it. But in trying to prepare or present in that holistic way, it was a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm.
Having a sample menu, what food are you going to cook? What are the reasons why you do dishes? Having reasons for doing X, Y, and Z dishes. Doing consistency in food. So if we're going to I'm not going to start doing pizzas one night and then start doing another thing. It's like trying to present with cohesion. Like what's your concept? I think is a big deal. Like what's the food that we're cooking? To me, California, this is one of the biggest things we settled on is styling it as California Jewish cuisine, right? Because first and foremost, it's a cuisine that's located in the terroir of San Francisco and the greater Bay Area, right? California, our produce, our vegetables, our ethics, our fucking responsibilities, our sensibilities. California cuisine is the first thing that motivates me.
Mm-hmm.
What informs those decisions about the product, right? California is the product. What informs those decisions about what to use the product for is the Jewish part, my cultural identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also me as a chef and like my own personal experience growing up in Los Angeles and the Bay Area and stuff.
Right.
And cooking in the Bay Area. So I wanted to do something that was like, Rintaro is California Japanese cuisine. It's inspired by the California ingredients, Japanese culture. California Italian is a really big Cal Italian spot. We got
every new spot that opens up. Yeah, hey, I almost opened up a fucking Cal Italian spot.
I mean, it's like it's the but I don't think this is, to me, I was like, fuck, this seems really fucking cool. Why do I not see a restaurant that does this version of that? You know, so having that sort of concept guiding your thought process, I think, is a really big fucking deal for me personally. And then, reaching out to everyone, you have to, this is the thing I landed on. There is not a single person in this world, even your most loved family members, that will care about it as much as you do, or should care about it as much as you do.
For sure.
You cannot expect everyone else in your life to care about it as they might get close. People care about it. They would sacrifice their time, their effort, their labor, everything. They spend a lot of time helping you out. I mean, the amount of friends I have, Dan, Caterino, Harrison, fucking Connie, Bill Wang, fucking all of my fucking friends who have taken time out of their schedules on their days off as cooks or whatever else they're doing, working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, whatever, to help me out a pop-up. Like, that means they care. They care a fucking lot. And they're fucking, some were rough, dude. We did fucking, Birbo was like a 9-hour service or something. It was fucking super fun and successful. Like the Morris was fucking like, it was a long fucking service. We opened at like 12 and went till we opened at 2 and we went till like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
6-course tasting menu, 135 covers. The fucking greens was like fucking 250 people, fucking 6-course tasting menu. Long, but no one in that room cared about it as much as I did.
Right.
And that's really important to know, because it comes to a place where you're going to have to talk about it all the fucking time. You're going to have to bring it up. It's going to interrupt your life, and it will just be this thing that you care about more than other people. And you have to balance that, knowing that because they don't care about it as much as you do, does not mean that they don't care about it, and does not mean that your success is not important to them, and that they're just not going to sacrifice in the same ways. And that's good. I don't think you want anyone to care about it as much as you do, because there's a lot of times, because once they do, like, it becomes this different thing, right? You create an environment where you want them to, you create the roadmap for that. But like, as a whole, putting the expectation that someone cares about as much as you do, that's like some shit where like, hey, this restaurant's a family. This business is a family. We don't take time off during holiday season because we want the restaurant to do well. We don't want to let our team down. Motherfucker, my grandma's old. I'm going to fucking take the time off. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Don't fucking, like.
That's another thing. When I get asked for time off, the answer is yes. I don't give a fuck what I'm going to have to do to cover your time. I'd rather you be where you want to be. But
there are other times, and this is a very real scenario, when the business, your job is, the business is dependent on your job. Your job is dependent on the business, right? And there are times when I can't say, look, I'm sorry, we have a small team and I can't give you this Friday night off. I feel horrible. Right. And if I were able to work the station myself, if there is a way to do it, and I'm not just saying no on principle, I'm saying if there was a scenario where we could not give you that time off, it feels fucking horrible, right? That's just a reality of the system sometimes. Mm-hmm. I will fucking bend over backwards and ask other people to, if it means that you can take the time off in a way that makes sense.
Right.
When you can't, that's fine. But I don't want you to think that you can't take time off in general because the restaurant needs to go, like that's why. And this is one of those things where you lay the expectation in the employee handbook. You say exactly how many days off you request, special circumstance, what the special circumstances are, having it all laid out. So we both agree, hey, family member is gravely ill, fucking like there's the reasons you go, right? You put in your time off request. You have to put in a time off request 2 weeks before, right? If it's something last minute, can you get your shift covered? All that shit. You get all that shit figured out. Sure.
Right.
But no one will care about it as much as you do. So that to me was like, and I'm still trying to learn that, but it's been really helpful.
Right.
And it's allowed me to kind of like not be in this, like, why do you not care? Like, don't you want to see me do well?
Right.
Don't you want to work 7 days a week like I do?
Here's the conundrum that I have with small business, because it's like, yes, if that person can't take the time off, right? It's not their fault as an employee, you know? I think if it's like a concert you want to go to, like, yeah, there's obviously whatever. But if they've done all the right things,
and you
still say no, that's when I'm like,
what's the reason you said no, right? First.
Exactly.
So
first
one,
of all,
what's the reason? You don't need a reason to request time off through the appropriate channels.
No, definitely not.
If you have to call out of your shift, I think you do need a reason.
100%. But if you're like taking time off and you
mental health day,
exactly,
oh my God.
that's what I'm saying.
It's like you're fucking look, chef.
Go ahead, bro.
This station has been really fucking challenging. I feel like I don't have a lot. Right. The position I'm in, there's some external shit, like fuck, like all these things.
Yeah.
And or if you invoke the word mental health day, you may not be that. This is the problem too. I think with the mental health day in restaurants, sometimes we require people to sort of open up and therapize with us, you know. Right. Before we let them have the mental health day.
Yeah, that's why that's
the hard part. That's the hard part. You never know, because someone could be like, yeah, man, I need a fucking mental health day. And you're like, bro, you don't look fucking sad. Bro, you don't look fucking tired. Like, what's going on? Like, you're on fucking the vacation station, whatever, you know, like whatever the shit is, that person may be an extremely poor emotional communicator. They may feel like they don't owe you like an explanation. Mental health day, right?
You could definitely like, that's why I'm like, I never really.
But we shouldn't be making policy.
I never say no.
I don't think we should be making our policies based off of the worst person, the worst outcome.
Definitely. And
we shouldn't say no to everyone because of it.
Right.
If you have an employee who's abusing that for their own gain, I think they're going to have issues with performance in other areas anyways.
Right.
You're going to see, I don't know, maybe you would see something else going. Like, I don't think every employee will take advantage of that if they need to. Right.
I think it's irresponsible though, as a business, to open and not have any money in the bank to cover certain things.
Oh, dude, working capital.
And like, you better have working capital, and you better have, you know, start your wages a little bit higher than minimum wage so you can stay ahead of fucking inflation.
Yeah.
Work that into your business plan. Don't open and be like, yeah, dude, like people are opening or doing their business plans, and the restaurants are opening so far out that by the time you fucking open, you have no money because you thought you were going to open in 24. You opened in 26, bunch of setbacks. I say, hey, we know the setbacks are going to happen. Yeah. Let's just fucking, you know, account for them and have a 10 to 15% extra fucking shit that we never touch.
And a portion of that is people, you know, no matter what you do when you open up a restaurant, it's either your money or someone else's money, and saving is hard in general.
Oh yeah.
Right? You know, it's like, so, and a lot of investors don't want you to sit on 130K in the bank of working capital. You know, they just don't want to see that money not do anything. Yeah. You know, or not. So I think a portion of that is definitely that's where business owners are coming from. But, and like, you know, people be like, you know, it's not my responsibility to pay, you know, it's not my responsibility to have everyone have fucking the most high paying job in the world. But it is my responsibility as an employee working for the business I'm working for that job to pay me what I need to pay. I can't work somewhere that doesn't pay me enough to live if I'm not getting some other intrinsic value from it.
Right.
Oh, I took a day job, you know, not so I can start working on this, or that's its own separate thing, right? But you can be like, oh, I'm going to pay you, you know, fucking right at minimum wage. And then you can just like, you know, take it easy, start working on your own stuff. Right. Like, no, that's not fucking how it works. So that's something I think about a lot as like a chef when at the restaurant I want to open up. We did a ton of fucking pop-ups all over. It was like an extremely like full circle moment. You know, I wrote this before I started the pop-up. I wrote this article about having ADHD. Yeah. And it was a fucking huge, it was just a huge moment of like fucking Maddie Cameron, like reshared it from fucking, like all these people were like, oh my, I thought people were gonna say like, hey chef, fuck you. You're a complainer. Like just work harder. I thought that was because that's the shame I felt. And it realized I was like, I need to start advocating for myself more. Here's my little tips and tricks about like what helps me. Yeah. You know,
well, I think the kitchen is its own. Here's the thing. Like we lost the ability to say whatever you wanted in the kitchen. And I feel like that is ultimately where people had to go to like get their shit out. And yeah, it sucks that it was at work and then other people got into the field that kind of, like you said, by privilege, they're kind of like, I'm just going to go try this thing that wasn't a choice for anybody else there.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the room who are like, that's
what I'm
their
saying.
only fucking chance.
And then you're trying to like impose your fucking college education on their way of life when it's like, you don't fucking know who they are.
No
so
idea.
let them be themselves. And that's why I'm like, the best kitchens, let everyone from all walks of life be themselves, right? Obviously.
Yeah, not touching butts or
not doing weird shit like that. But like, come into work, you fucking professional, you want more, you're going to do a good job because you care.
You put into it what you get out.
Exactly.
That's like, to me, it's like culinary school. Some people are like talk shit on culinary school.
Right.
I think that like it helped open a lot of doors for me. I'm still paying it off. It's very expensive.
Same thing. Yeah,
Fuck.
same here, bro.
Sometimes I take a little break from paying it off. But you get out what you put into it. You know, if you're
Definitely.
like, they're gonna shove the knowledge into my brain. It's not how it works.
No, and even after you leave, you suck.
Yeah, and you're
I
like,
fucking
the fuck
yeah, and I'm like, what did I pay
Espanol
for?
Sauce.
No one. You realize it's literally Campbell's is the last place that makes
Is the
Espanol
last
sauce
great chef.
of Espanol sauce.
Yeah.
Everyone just skips straight to the reduction demi now. Nobody
Right?
puts
They hop
flour
on their
in
little
shit.
fucking Vespanol and get right to the reduction.
Oh, chef, you pulled it out.
Thank you.
Can we look at some of the
yeah,
food you
dude,
got here? Let's go through the.
Okay, so I'll pull out the fucking. Here's my notes. Sure. Is this the fucking first one? This is the first menu at Buddy. And you can see the increase in skill from fucking graphic design.
Let me. Boom. Okay. So, Buddy, was this the first one?
Yeah, this is the first one. This is sort of like
The first one ever.
we released all the first 3 dates in sort of a tour almost. And that was
Yeah.
really helpful because it gave people time to like sort of jump onto that. And this first year's been fucking cool. It was like, so I basically based the menu off of like dishes I had done before at home or like was really excited to cook.
Yeah.
Things that felt personal.
Let me just read it
Spanakopita.
off. Yeah,
Yeah, go for it.
spanakopita, spinach, wild greens, Bulgarian feta, phyllo, fig leaf oil. Fig leaf oil is one of my favorite things.
Oh my God, fucking so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do people find it? Is there figs somewhere else on here, or did you catch the fig leaves in between seasons?
This was fig leaves. Fuck, where did I get them from? I think I had got them either, the first one was in May, so
Yeah.
the leaves were probably from a tree that hadn't fruited yet.
Right. That's obviously the best time because that's when you get that like really astringent,
Fucking coconutty,
like bitter, like yeah, it's
Fucking-
nice.
suntan lotion.
Yeah, exactly. I like peach leaves too.
Ooh, yeah, peach leaf. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big one at Al's place.
Black sesame hummus,
Yeah.
sultana pine nut brown butter, Esteban masa sourdough. Shout out to Esteban.
Hell yeah.
I need to have him on the show. Strange flavor style dolma. Talk to me about the strange flavor style because I know it comes from
Yeah.
eating at Chinese restaurants.
So this was actually a dish I first did at Slug. This is the first dish that I kind of like was the proto Hadeem when I was like, this is sort of the flavor profile and things that I get excited by. And this
Yeah.
combination of like, so strange flavor in sort of the greater context is a Szechuanese preparation. You'll see it either with like shredded, poached and shredded chicken or eggplant, or it just refers to like a specific flavor combination of a certain group of flavor profiles. So,
Right.
you know, there's other ones in Sichuan cuisine that are like fish fragrant. You know, there's like these names for these flavor combinations, sort of, you know, it's like, so this one just refers to like kind of all of them. So numbing from Sichuan peppercorn, salty from soy, sweet from like sugar that you would add or some form of sweetness, spiciness, in general, like chili heat, richness from fattiness of like a sesame paste. But we used a Lebanese sesame paste where you would normally use a Chinese style sesame paste, which is like sort of pre-seasoned. And then we made our own chili crisp. And my friend Will, who has a pop-up called Lao Wai Noodles, he was kind of the inspiration for the chili crisp. He was like one of the first people to like share with me like a little bit of the backstory behind it.
Yeah.
So that was really fun.
What's in your chili crisp?
So I do fried garlic, fried shallots, fried ginger. And you basically like take the garlic and you blitz it in a Roboku in water. on like setting number 1, in a Vitamix, and then pass it through a chinois. And that gives you like this uniform kind of grain.
Right.
And then you slowly fry it in oil. And then I do essentially kind of like a 5-spice mix, but I also add, so the spice mix is cumin, coriander, caraway, green cardamom, Chinese black cardamom, which are these like kind of fat, they almost look like dry prunes, sort of. And then I do green Sichuan peppercorn, which is a little more floral. I like to do lots of caraway in it. And then a ton of other spices, and chili oil, a couple different types of chili. And then, so it's this tahini paste, the dolmades, which are, my yaya used to make dolmades, and then on my Greek side, and then my great aunt, who's Lebanese Jew from Syria, born in Syria.
Yeah.
Used to make dolmas also, and she'd make them with like beef and lamb, or rice and lamb, and beef. But then when my yaya got older, she stopped making them, but she'd always have a can of like the dolmades, like for me when I wanted it. It was really sweet. So then she would, so I made my own recipe for that sort of. So they're these cold dolma wrapped in grape leaf, short grain rice, all the herbs, and then braised in the oven, and then tahini, chili crisp, and like basil, mint, cilantro, and what's it called? Basil, mint, cilantro, and scallions.
Damn.
So and then that's like, so when we don't have figs in season, we do it with dolma. When we don't have dolma, we do it with figs. So
okay,
and
got
then,
you.
So
contingency plan.
That's kind of just been like one of the dishes we do all the time, and it's just people are always like, "Oh, figs!" Yeah, 'cause figs always end up on a cheese plate, but they never get the center stage.
Right, right.
To me, the fig is like my favorite fruit ever.
It should be on some more savory applications.
Or you get it like in the lamb jus, or you get it like with blue cheese, or you get it like it's in desserts a lot.
Right.
And then we did like a cold smoked crudo. The method was sort of something I saw at Ichiro, which was really cool. That we do trout, but I did it with like kampachi, and did like this like seasoned labna with these like everything nori chips.
Okay.
So the in the greater sense, a lot of the dishes have like these like, for me, like personal influences or cultural influences, and I'm just trying to do food that I would be really I would love to eat, and I just haven't really seen. A lot of that just happens to be stuff that I haven't seen on a lot of menus. Like we do these steam buns with marble rye in the dough. So we marble rye like a bao dough essentially, and then do braised pastrami and like a sauerkraut aioli.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really.
It reminded me of Chef Kat. She does a rice noodle with like. Basically, it's a rice noodle cacio pepe.
Oh fuck!
It's fucking.
So
I'm like, God damn.
So there's a lot of chefs who have like sort of inspired this type of cuisine, but I haven't seen something specific like Jeremy Fox does a ton of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like Jewish,
Yeah.
Kostow's fucking Levsky, like a lot of like takes on this and stuff, and like
for sure.
So Chef Kat, their matzo ball soup recipe, fucking.
I bet.
Goat status, right? Fucking
She's
so fucking
badass.
good. Yeah. So like we did, we've just been doing that sort of food, and then like collaboration, I think, has been a huge element. Anytime that as a chef, I can put my name and my pop-up's name in the same sentence as someone else's restaurant that is successful, it's huge.
Yeah.
So we did the first 3 pop-ups. We did Buddy, we did Birba, which is a really cool wine bar in Hayes Valley, and then we did Habibi, which is, we did their like pride party essentially. And we donated some money to Lion Martin Community Center, which was really cool.
Cool,
like
man.
I, like to be a part of a pride celebration, I felt like, I wanted to give back a little bit, just in the sense that it wasn't like I'm profitizing off someone's fucking holiday,
Yeah.
So it felt important to like, thank you so much. I love cooking and being with friends and celebrating. And then we went and did, the Morris, which was really fucking cool. Gavin hosted me for a pop-up. We needed like 135 cover, 6-course tasting menu. It was fucking insane. It was so fucking cool. And it was a challenge for sure to do that type of food. But the menu was like awesome. We did these like black olive and black garlic rugula, like savory rugula, and it reminded me of the
same thing. I helped you. I think I helped you with the stuffing or something.
Yeah.
Got you.
So, but it reminded me of like Kinch's fucking the black olive Madelines, or like the black olive little fucking bite from fucking
Carlito?
from
Metalwood.
Yeah, fucking black olive with the olive oil like gel, or the fuck it was like this
it was glycerin.
it was fucking
Glice.
yeah. It
it
was
was
really
called.
fucking glice.
Yeah.
Shout out Carl, man. Goddamn.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking
Fucking mastermind genius.
yeah.
What people don't know is that the Charter Oak Burger was invented by a combined effort of Charlie Apple, Carl Alexander, and Katiana.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
I think she did the bread. I'm unsure. I know that the main proprietor of the jam
Right.
that goes on top, the
Yeah.
like the jalapeno relish, is Charlie.
That sounds like some Charlie stuff. He
Oh,
just
for
fucking,
sure.
he has like, he
has
can
the
put his
best
hands inside something and make
condiments.
it delicious. He's just like such a talented
Right.
fucking flavor
I mean, I'm definitely gonna
king.
make sure that he's the one that makes all of my pantry stuff.
Oh, for sure. Oh my
you
God.
know,
Yeah.
fucking, you know what it is, fucking all them garums and shit.
Oh my God,
I mean,
yeah.
he's a fucking scientist.
He, yeah. So just the collaboration aspect, you know, when we were doing the pop-up at Birba,
Yeah,
Chef Nico Peña from Octavia had the food. He was eating with Esteban because Esteban made the bread for that pop-up. And it was like, he was like, dude, this is fucking awesome. We did these pierogies that were stuffed with like a pastrami sort of farce,
yeah,
and like sauteed black trumpets or morels, I think. And he was just fucking sick. We got to do
that kitchen's tight.
It's fucking cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did an event. He hosted us for like a tasting menu. It was like, you do dishes, we do dishes, and like that was fucking cool.
Yeah, yeah.
With having
I was there.
done so few. Yeah, you fucking
Yeah,
helped
yeah, I
out.
helped
I
out,
remember
yeah.
we fucking you helped me roll out
We're in
like
that little
5,000
kitchen.
fucking fucking pilmeni.
Dude, those things were crazy. They were really good, and that kitchen's beautiful. And
my God,
honestly,
so
shout
fun.
out to Nico because he gives a
Dude.
lot of opportunity to.
I was just at the point we were, for him to recognize, like to enjoy the food. It was a huge effort, and for him to invite us into the kitchen, work with Melissa Perello. I was like,
Yeah,
she's
dude.
a fucking legend.
Yeah,
that
she
space
is.
is legendary, and it's just so being a sort of a lot of it is just like being shameless with like talking to whoever and having
Yeah.
conversations with them and like trying to engage with them and like having talking to your friends and stuff. So that we've been very lucky in that aspect. The collaboration I
Right.
feel like has been sort of the secret. Like when we did a collab with the Four Kings, who have
Okay.
like Cantonese style cuisine, is because they're fucking awesome. They're two like Frankie and Mike opened this fucking dope fucking restaurant. It's sort of like cuisine inspired by things that they really loved cooking and their own personal experiences. And
Yeah.
I staged at Mr. Jew's before they closed to renovate for like 2 weeks, and that's how I met Frankie.
I want to stage there.
It's so fucking fun. Brandon
yeah.
Jew is like, oh my God, the food, all the systems, it's incredible. So I staged there, and that's where I met Frankie. Like we talked and stuff like that. And then I started bugging them about doing a collab together. And like that, we ended up doing like a sort of collab between our food and their food around Christmas time. Cause as a Jew, I remember growing up eating at Chinese restaurants and thinking like, this isn't some shit that all Jews do. Like this is just us. And then I was like, oh my God,
Everybody does it, bro.
so,
yeah.
And like,
The movies.
oh my God.
Chinese.
Yeah. It's like, so it was super fun to kind of play around with
Right.
that. We did like, char siu babka, which one of my mom's friends like sent me a very angry text message. It's like, what the fuck are you doing putting pork in a babka? I was like, you don't get it. It's not for you. Okay.
Yeah.
We did char siu pork.
Doesn't
rolled
need
in
to
the
be
babka.
for you.
It's like it was like a way of like, if you eat that and I explain the experience of eating at a Chinese restaurant at Christmas, you're like, I get it.
I bet there
totally
are some
understand.
people in your culture who are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, falafel with uni on
Right.
top, like
First
fucking.
page of the news.
I mean, just that type of stuff is like very, little things like that. I think has kind of been the not taking ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
And like,
hey, you're
allowing-
America. It's all good,
I
bro.
wanted to just, these are things that like reach out, and I was like, I haven't seen anything like this that felt really cool, like the scallion pancake knish.
Right,
You know?
right.
That was the first time we did that was at the Bar Iris one.
Yeah.
That was fucking cool.
I think there's more Chinese influence in things that we don't even really kind of fathom.
No.
Like right now, Chino Boricua cuisine is coming up.
Oh shit.
And so it's, Chinese food from our island.
Like a roast chaufa
And
too
then
in
it's
Peru, like all that.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, they just have so many fucking people. Like,
Yeah.
how are they not integrated into the world? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the
Well,
fuck?
it's extremely
proof.
like thousands of year old culture, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, it helps you elevate your culture. Asian food in general helps elevate any. I mean, half these white boys wouldn't have flavor if it wasn't for Japan.
Yeah, no, God. And just like the technique involved, and I feel like like there's so much specific technique in Chinese cooking too that's like really engage and like so engaging with like the way that I think, like methods and stuff like that. So
I think it's very their cuisine is based on, well, we fucking had to do this or else we couldn't eat.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's just the mother of invention anyways, you know, need is the mother of invention.
Right.
So we've done a ton of collabs, and it's just been a lot of crazy moments because of, you know, there are a lot of points in my career where because of just my own personal stuff and feeling, you know, I got like been fired many times for poor performance. And a lot of that I think went into like once I wrote the article about the ADHD, or like just started to explore my feelings, like, wow, I think it's harder for people than they realize, like having ADHD in a kitchen I didn't grow up with parents who were like super fucking, you have to put stuff away and blah, blah, blah. And like, I didn't grow up with a lot of structure in my life. So kitchen was sort of the only place I really learned to find that, but it wasn't easy.
Right.
And I didn't do well at it for a long time, you know?
Same.
I mean,
I felt like I was always behind.
I feel like we could always do like a whole separate podcast of all the tips and tricks and shit I've learned. Like,
for sure.
Oh my God. It's like so helpful. But I like, you know, after I did that, I realized, you know, after then collaborating with so many chefs I've looked up to, like the thought, if you had talked to me about 6 months ago, like we did a fucking collab with Costow at fucking Lovsky.
Yep.
That to me was such a, I only worked there for like 6 months, and it changed so much the ways it had such a deep effect on me, and I was fucking terrified the whole time. I came in, they're like, I was doing prep there. I was sending him all the fucking spreadsheets, all prep lists, all things, and like he came in and there was like there was some crumbs underneath the slicer, and I was like, fuck. And I was like, I need to clean this. I was like, first of all, it's not my restaurant.
Yeah.
It's crumbs. It's a bagel. They fucking sell bagels here.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. It wasn't even dirt. It was like some crumbs. I was like,
right.
And then I realized like, wow, I'm trying really hard at this because I'm sort of proud of myself in a way to have that full circle sort of moment.
Yeah, for sure.
And then that same in like 2 months from then, I did a fucking collab in New York with Richard fucking Reddington from Red. Like they invited me into the restaurant.
So it was full circle Napa moment.
Richard put me up in a hotel. I cooked with Brad and fucking Ethan, their whole crew there. And like, it was one of the most incredible experiences as a chef, like to have both of those in a row was like, it's better than the fucking pop-up of the year thing. Like, thank God, I mean, Eater in December, they like 2023, they're like a pop-up of the year. We were fortunate enough to receive pop-up of the year, which is insane for how short we've been doing it. Yeah. I felt really lucky.
But you worked hard.
I worked hard.
And you actually have chef pedigree.
And I appreciate that.
There's a lot of fucking pop-ups out here, motherfuckers that didn't put in their time, Spencer.
You know,
and you know what? You put in your fucking time. That's why you're getting these invites, bro.
If I could wake up and be really good at something without working hard at it, fucking God bless you.
Right.
I wish that skill could be for everyone else. Respect. But to do, I mean, the other two pop-ups that Richard did were like with fucking Josiah Citron and fucking David Kinch.
That feeling,
I mean, the fucking, what are we like? Imagine all of us in an elevator together.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, that feeling that you're saying right there is a big reason why I started the show. I'm like, let me use this platform to
it's completely
talk to people who aren't in restaurants, talk to people who have restaurants, talk to people who,
my dream for doing pop-ups has completely been self-serving just to get in these guys' kitchens and do events.
Fucking let's go, chef.
They would have never hired me as
let's go. I know, it's funny, but you know what? That's a lesson right there, because there's a lot of people that are working in the trenches right now.
If I would have believed it, though, if I would have just been like, hey, just because you failed as a line cook at these restaurants or didn't do great, but you developed these skill set, doesn't mean it gave me a lot of confidence to be like, hey, I am talented at this in a way that like I didn't realize. for these reasons, X, Y, and Z. And I should be proud of that. I should really be fucking proud of that.
Well, your story in a way just tells people that are right now in a restaurant working under a chef that could have their own pop-up, could have their own restaurant, and they don't have the fucking balls to just
don't
try
quit
it.
your job. You know,
Quit your fucking job. Leave your fucking job and go do what you gotta do.
You know, I did a collab with Jeff from Burdell.
Yeah.
And we did this like grandma series, and it was like there's a picture of like
I went.
me and it was fucking amazing. Camille was there, fucking the whole team. Carl Alexander was there, Dalton was there. And it was the menu was like a mix of like my two bubbies. We called it two bubbies, but one of my yaya and my bubby.
Yeah.
Right. So it was like a mix of like Greek food and like Polish and Russian food. Right. And we did that, and it was so cool. He has this like grandma series that he does, and his line cooks are fucking rad. They're so fucking tight. He has the same line cooks ever since it's been open. They're so cool. They were so like comfortable with cooking new food and just like excited and willing to learn. And if fucking one of them leaves to go start a pop-up now because they saw this, I'm gonna get a fucking real donkey from him. And
Whatever, Jeff.
No. I think that like people work at the jobs that they're working. If you have a dream, I'm not saying quit your job. I'm saying like start dreaming of it.
Start dreaming and start planning and start. Yeah.
But I
feel like there's a lot of chefs, like Jeff would make it easy, but there's a lot of chefs that don't fucking make it easy.
He would coach people. He would like tell you how he did it.
He would tell you the answers.
Ladder up behind him. He was like, he shares, he shares so much with me. He's like someone I honestly consider like a mentor.
That's why I believe you guys are the new generation of chefs, because the old generation doesn't do that. Quite simple. No, they don't do that.
Well, the secret is capital. Honestly, that's the secret. If you're straight up with like, hey, someone invested a lot of money because they believe in my concept, tell people that. Tell that you took out a loan. Tell them that you borrowed money. Tell them that you didn't just have $1 million to open up a restaurant. That's how much it basically costs now. Like the secret to your business doing well is capital and a good lease.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have those two things, and then you have a smart concept, great. But if you don't have a good lease and you don't have a lot of fucking money, it's really hard to do it. So that's the reality. You're like, oh, how did that restaurant survive the pandemic? Oh, their investors all put in another $100K each. How did they made it 50 years? Oh, the landlord bought the building for that. Oh my God. The percent, it's like, if you're like, and then alternatively, if you're like, oh man, that space, such a beautiful space, that restaurant, I wonder why they didn't do well. Like, what's going on? Like, no one's taking over that space in so long. Fucking landlord needs to lower the rent. That's what happens. Yeah. Like, that gorgeous space is cursed. No, maybe the landlord, The
landlord is cursed.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. They're fucking,
they're just trying to recoup for all their losses.
Yeah, motherfucker. I want to recoup for my losses. I want to recoup for this fucking, culinary school.
The landlord podcasts are going to be fucking pissed.
I know, right?
Yeah. Is there a landlord podcast? There's gotta be.
I would love to be hosted, to host one and be like,
love to be on one and be like, why don't you pay rent on time?
If they gave you let me just be a landlord for a year and then.
Right. Then you could start a pop-up, because then you'd have the landlords being like, you haven't even been in this business long, buddy. Who do you think you are?
The way to make $1 million in wine is to start with 2 million.
Right. There you go. That's always with anything. You always start with, if you own the business and it's not an easy business to scale, like selling sea moss gummies. I just watched this guy who started selling sea moss gummies in his garage, and now he's like 13 million, like fucking biggest investors in the world.
No better feeling than someone saying no to your CMOS concept and then making $1 billion.
Yeah, literally.
That is a fucking.
Literally.
You don't even need to wave it in someone's face. You know what waves it in their face? Like the fucking yacht you drive by.
Exactly.
Like you fucking swim by on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like between those two collabs and getting to do what we do has been fucking insane. Like to do, and I did to see the food from that, like my yaya would make, or like to see, we did a version of matzo ball soup that was like matzo balls rolled out like gnocchi, cut. Cause I remember gnocchi was such a big thing at Red. Like one of the fun things of doing the pop-up is that you get to really decide what your non-negotiables are. What are you flexible on? Can you be flexible if you do a vegetarian? We did a vegan pop-up with my friend Alex. Fucking amazing. Mm-hmm. But like figuring out what your non-negotiables are. What are the things you're trying to do? What are the things you refuse to not do? And I was like, I want to do a version of like a gnocchi dish because we would do this gnocchi dish at Red. That was like the thing.
Yeah.
And it was like a very hard station. And so we make the farce for the matzo balls. We rolled them out like gnocchi, poached them. We roll them out, cut, poach, and then seared them in like foie fat with like morel mushrooms and truffle paste. And then a couple drops of like dill oil and served in like a slightly reduced chicken broth. Not jus, but also not like water. You know, like slightly cooked down just a bit.
Right before jus.
And it was like to one, just have Richard, who is like just, I mean, the amount I would get yelled at that kitchen. Oh my God. No one was as loud. No one was fucking as loud as Richard. Man knows how to fucking cook, but it's a different experience. And like, just to have that moment, you know, they like got shirts made and everyone was like walking around wearing shirts.
Triumphant.
I mean, just as a person who it's very hard for me to feel confident or like to take the moment and be like, I did I did this. I did a good job.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like to give myself
I did it. You got to have those moments.
Yeah. That was great. Full circle, you know, and now we're like starting to look at restaurant spaces and fucking, and like
really doing it
on the business
here
plan.
in San Francisco.
Yeah. Here in San Francisco, the plan.
Okay.
Yeah. Like kind of 20 to 2,300 square feet, sort of casual neighborhood restaurant. I have no Michelin dining Michelin aspirations, you know.
But if it happens, would you?
I mean, I think in order to get one, you have to try for it. You have to, in the back of your head, think like, how do I get towards that? Because you got to have,
I think now, maybe that was true 10, 15 years ago, but now they give it to taquerias all the time. That you telling me that dude got up in the morning and was like, I'm going to get a Michelin star.
Well, no. Michelin star, yes, though. Think about a spot like, you know, you have to have some like what a la carte restaurant gets a Michelin star now?
Dude, I'm not saying that they're giving them away, but I don't
say it's harder. And but I don't think that, I don't think that's really like, to me, I like Rich Table post star more than I do pre-star.
Definitely.
I like that as a restaurant I want to eat at. That's the vibe I want.
We're talking about different eras also, right?
True,
so there was different rules. When you were at Meadowood, there was different rules than there is now.
And, you know, when Lazy Bear got their 2 stars, you know, I worked there for like a month.
Again.
Fucking shit canned. And like, you know, it's just different. It's a different vibe. I think to me, I want a casual neighborhood restaurant, open 6 days a week. One of those days is like a wine bar.
Yeah.
We want to do brunch. Yeah. We want to do fucking takeout. You know, not like through the apps, but like if you get you're in the neighborhood, you live upstairs in the building or whatever it is next door. You want to fucking you want the entree.
You know, that reminds me of that movie Spanglish. Because he gets a really good review and he's like, oh my God, they're going to fucking... That's going to be you, chef. You're going to be just too successful. And you're going to be like, we got to leave room for walk-ins.
Yeah, right? You know?
That's going to be your fucking battle. But that's a good fucking problem to have. You know?
I just...
It's better than no one's coming in.
That's the worst feeling. That to me, I still get... Because there's been pop-ups that have been... Look, this has not been a rocket ship to success. There have been pop-ups that have not gone well. We fucking didn't make any money. Nobody came. No one bought tickets. And that is the fucking hardest thing. It's one thing it's hard when like you're a line cook and no one's coming in the restaurant. You're fucking bored. You're like, why are we here? Da da da. There's no worse feeling than like working for fucking 3 weeks straight, fucking taking pictures of yourself and posting shit online saying, get tickets, da da da, fucking work hard, do all this shit, and fucking no one shows up. It's like having a 5-year-old having a birthday and no children and no kids. None of your friends fucking show up. Yeah. It's the worst feeling in the fucking world. It's way worse when it's your restaurant that's open and it's not making money. So I think that like I learned like, okay, I'm not just going to believe foolhardily that our concept, if we build it, we will come. No, you got to fucking do a lot of things and be really willing to compromise on a lot of things that you think are important to make that happen. Right. And to me, I'm like, I want a restaurant that people want to come to twice a month. Mm-hmm. They want to come for drinks or they want to come from a nice meal. We'll sell babka, we'll sell babka during the day. It's not going to be an all-day cafe, but if you want to buy like Cheesecake Factory, I want to be fucking successful like Cheesecake Factory. Mm-hmm. You at the end of your meal, you buy a cheesecake, take it home. That's fucking great. Why they're successful as a business. It's like I think about stuff like that. I'm like, not that we're going to be necessarily as casual as that, but like I want to be success because it means I can provide for my family and go on vacations, open with the CDC and have a CDC and be able to, take time off and show people that there's a path to like ownership that isn't just based off of luck.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of it is luck. You just get lucky, but also don't say it's just luck. Say you met a fucking tech investor at a private dinner that you didn't advertise on Instagram and he wants to invest fucking $500,000. Like,
Right.
Or like you have a family member who does real estate. Like, talk about that shit. It's fine.
Just
you know?
be real. But I think it takes it back to that point of like, you know, when you were talking about having the privilege and how, unfortunately some don't, you know, whatever, but those that do, I feel like feel guilty sometimes of taking advantage of those things.
Yeah, that's true.
And you should be able to do that without people that don't have it judging you for it.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like if the tables were turned, you would be dumb not to.
Try. I mean,
Just
yeah, it's like, you know,
fucking-
I remember what the Black Keys said about like selling out and going.
Yeah.
It's like a young, you know, I was once a young, chubby punk rock kid who went to little punk rock shows and fuck the system and fuck blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I was like, fuck
I could see
sellouts
you.
and da-da-da, you know, portly. Let
Yeah.
me tell you, you know, I got this height late in life.
So
Later for
so you were wearing small band shirts with your like belly like
it was I would feel self-conscious about like I have like a little shirt and I would tuck the shirt in and wear a shirt on top of it because I was like, because you know you want to fucking, you know,
I got you all the angles.
yeah, all the angles, and you know,
trim.
I was doing tummy training before fucking
Right. That's
was
funny.
fucking
You
cool.
were tucking your tummy and you're fucking putting your belt buckle over your belly button.
I did it before Skims, okay?
Hey, it's okay.
Trainers, yeah, no, so, but you know, they said this thing about something. It's like, why wouldn't you want, you know, that these guys can fucking go on vacation now and live their lives with their families, and like their fucking parents can fucking buy a yacht. I would love for my fucking mom to buy a yacht.
Right.
Put her in fucking sunglasses. She's tanning.
Exactly.
Fucking, you know, like
Yeah.
fuck it. You know, like, and you know, if that means I'm doing less, like, here's my special dish of fucking.
Here's my
Look, it's like if you have to whisper and describe the ingredients. To the
literally.
people at the table, like,
Yeah.
I know that for me and the food that I want to cook, that will not be my path to
Right.
success. If someone wants to give me $5 kajillion billion to open up a restaurant like that doesn't
Yeah.
make money, who knows? Maybe I'd say yes. But I honestly just know I know the thing. I know I've seen the financials at those restaurants. I know what makes money, what doesn't make money. Labor is going to get more expensive.
Fucking insane.
Someone who's willing to fucking bury a ram horn in the ground and grow the best
Yeah.
vegetables in the world for you. Those people are fucking not working. You know, like those farms are closing. You know,
Yeah,
it's like that
yeah.
shit's changing.
For real.
And I know that, like, I'm just like, how am I going to fucking lace someone about the fucking Caper Brunoise not being perfect if I can't even fucking Caper Brunoise as nice as them?
Right.
I just know that, like, that's going to be.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point because I feel like there's some
would be
chefs during
hard.
my trajectory that had less skills than some of the people in the kitchen, but because they were in charge.
And if I want to do a dish, I think I would be like, hey man, here's the expectation about this dish. And like, we really want this. This is the thing that should really be the focus. And like, it should be important to you that it looks really great.
Yeah.
Like, I will struggle with this also. I think you're the one doing the dish every day is the one who does it the best, right? If you're like, chef, move over. No, dude, give it to the guy who fucking does it like 90% of the way, fucking 100 times a night. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like,
Yeah.
like that's the guy who's fucking going to be really the best person to ask about it, the one with the best skill. So like little
Definitely.
things like that, you know, like
That's great leadership.
there's certain things like maybe I just want to do the dish because it's fun and I want to jump in there and pretend chef for a little bit. But like, I know that like execution wise,
Right.
if I'm like, hey, make this happen, it's not, you know what I'm saying? So little things like that, I think are like,
The best teams are the
driving.
ones that know that chef is rusty, right? He's not gonna be. But maybe they have all the things ready though.
maybe I
They're
see
got his
it though
back,
too. Maybe
right?
I'm the one. I think one of the things that's really been helpful with ADHD is I oftentimes am too aware of small details, and it causes me to get distracted. I'm like, you know, I see little things, like I've looked at small little bits of fucking every, you know, all the cool things,
Get
like your
lost in
fucking
the
Burger King,
minutia.
all that stuff. But when you're the person, like the nets of like safety net of things, big things, like, okay, we work with really great purveyors. That saves us from getting shitty product. We have great line cook. We have great AM cooks who know what to wash. Okay, by the time it gets to your station as a line cook, it's 90% perfect already,
Yeah.
right? And my goal, even though I may not be able to like, you're going to do a better job at filtering that 95%. I can see the small details. I feel like I've learned is that I can walk into a room and be like, hey, the guy who's about to wrap up his station didn't do X, Y, and Z as the prep cook. You're like, how the fuck did you notice that? It's because like all those small details, you know, and I think it's one of the things that makes having ADHD a great adaptation. But for other reasons, it might be hard because imagine I have to look at everything through a pinhole so I don't get fucking distracted during service, and just hyper focus. That's really hard for people, So there's different skill sets, like things the way it's been hard.
I think we've let business shape the way that we run our kitchens, right? Because like the maitre d', this is a lost position that's not in the restaurant anymore. And I think that it should be. I think that you should have a person that
job is just guest relations.
But like if you put that on any business plan and show that to an investor, they're going to be like, what the fuck do you mean you're going to pay somebody to walk around and talk to people?
One of the best floor people I've ever worked with in my life. One of the fucking hands down best floor people, Seamus Mulhall. I think he's in Spain now or wherever it is. He worked at the Progress. He could walk to a fucking table, take the temperature, refresh their drinks, get them sat. Busiest fucking night. If they're angry, he'd tell them a joke, One of the most fucking talented fucking people at it. And those positions don't really exist anymore.
No, they don't. It's all GM, wine
it's just
director.
A GM who's been doing, who's fucking riding a unicycle, rubbing their stomach, patting their head.
Right.
Who's also the pastry chef.
Right. Literally, he's got to do the schedule, the payroll, the fucking wine order. Yeah, I hear you.
That's how you got to open, but those positions don't exist anymore.
Right.
Good fucking.
But that's the thing. It's like, is that how you have to open? I don't think so. You know what I'm saying?
What was his name? Olin.
Olin. People came there. Bro, he had regulars at Meadowood. I thought it was wild.
He would move through the room like a choo-choo train, a slow-moving train. A slow-moving train. He would move through the room, and and every table he touched by would be fucking smiling after, no matter how weird. Me fumbly-wumbly pouring their sauce. Reaching in front of someone to pour the wine, like I'm giving them like I'm a fucking chimpanzee giving them my hand. He would come to the table and just fucking smooth them out. I don't know. It was fucking remarkable.
Even the servers trained the cooks at Meadowood.
That was fucking.
The servers would be like, "What the fuck did you do at my table?" I'd be like, "Excuse me."
Fucking. What was the GM's name? The director. The fucking guy. Fucking. Whatever. He would pull me aside, and he would have a whiteboard like a fucking coach. He'd be like, "You started here, X0. You need to come this way, around this way." Like a fucking on a whiteboard in a pen. I'm like, where the fuck did you get that pen? Where'd you get that fucking magic marker?
I also watched him tell a guy to get the fuck out of his restaurant. That was the best shit ever. Get the fuck out of my restaurant. This happened in the kitchen.
Oh my God.
Next thing you know that door that had the button? Like that's like where you got laced in the little hallway.
Yeah. A little fucking soundproof room.
Let's go over here. You're like, fuck.
Oh fuck. Here we go.
That's where he left. He never came back.
Your stomach muscles. Yeah. You're gonna get fucking.
I think he left his shit there too. He just left his bag. He's just like, thank God I had my car keys in my pocket.
Oh my God.
That's how you kind of know you're gonna get fired if you have your car keys in your pocket still. You're like, I'm not going to the locker and then walking right back.
Yep. Keep that shit on your tray.
There you go, chef.
That was the thing when you got fired at Meadowood. You would stuff all. It was like the classic. You'd stuff all your stuff in a black plastic bag. I noticed.
Yeah.
I was like, you saw someone walking with a trash bag.
You're like,
and they were breathing heavy. They got fired.
Dude, it was the worst. I would watch that.
It was like, I'm gonna walk out of here with some dignity. It's like you pack up your shit and you fucking go.
Yeah. Pack up your shit and go, or leave your shit.
Yeah,
you have
leave
two options.
I was like, bro, I'm a fucking broke line cook. I'm bringing my
you're
shitty
bringing
Hinkle
your
knife
shit
with me.
Yeah, dude. You're like, I'm not leaving without dignity. I'm saying goodbye. I'm shaking out. Leave with your fucking
taking a little handful of strawberries on the way.
Exactly. Hitting on the fucking host on your way out.
Oh no, God! I remember someone came out. A server came out when I got let go. This was emotional. I was like, I was doing a bad job, but everyone was sad.
I was sad.
Oh, thank you, buddy. I know. But it was for the honestly.
No, it was like I
swam till I couldn't swim no more.
It wasn't a learning lesson. You were a learning lesson for that entire kitchen, and it wasn't it was not in the bad thing at all. And I know, and I said that I was like, damn, that's a hard thing to say, David. But you were a learning. No, but we all learned that no matter what, it mattered that you worked there, regardless of how short it was or whatever you thought he got fired, whatever. I think those 6 months
didn't take it away from me.
Impactful to you and almost gave you as much as my 6 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
funny though because you black out a lot of stuff too.
You do.
It's so stressful that you're just
do.
But that's like every person. The weirdest thing has been connecting with people in fine dining and being able to have these conversations with them, and they're like, "Oh man, how many years you got in the shit?" how many years were you in fucking lockup?
Yeah.
How many years were you fucking done? I'm like, 6 months. Sorry, motherfucker.
6 months.
I fucking learned.
I got out unscathed.
I got out, and then I was like, oh, I should go work in fucking two-store. Fucking
Right,
same
right,
fucking
right,
story
right,
as
right,
fucking
right.
Fumbly Wumbly Spencer.
Yeah.
But I was like, I
Hey,
think
it
it's just
don't
huge. I just that
The fumbly wumbly comes from the ADHD, man.
Oh, for sure, dude.
You know, and I'm
touching,
sometimes I'm
moving,
like, how did
knurling.
I make it? Yeah, every time the towel.
I got
towel,
fucking. I was like, man,
Hold the towel.
if Dave can make it, man, I got some legs here. You know, I'm like fucking because I would see. I was like, dude, we're the same person. You don't.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you.
That's why I liked you so much. I was like, hey, I'm gonna help this guy out.
Gets kicked in the ass at 2 feet. He fucking keeps running.
Yeah, that's what you need, bro. Because you're like, who's gonna be left when the bullets start flying? You don't want a motherfucker that's that good. That's like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm like, I fucking died here.
Yeah.
Haunt that building.
Every day service was like D-Day, just running up the hill like,
Man, just getting shot. You're carrying your best friend. He's writing a handwritten note to his fiance before he fucking expired. Yeah.
That was the best shit about it was they would handwrite all the welcome notes.
Yeah.
To
Seven Adams did that when
Yeah.
I got the pop-up of the year thing. I went there and they wrote a note. And I was like, this is so fucking cool.
Yeah, man.
It was really fucking sweet.
You're stepping into infinity status within the chefs.
Oh yeah.
It's okay, chef.
I mean, at least you can see this podcast and know I didn't get here because I was good at cooking. No, I'm just kidding. Because I was a good line cook. You know, if you're doing a shitty job as a line cook, just know that I'm a terrible line cook. I have no problem saying
Chef,
that.
there's a lot of 3 Michelin star chefs out there who are terrible line cooks.
Oh, it's a salve
And let
on
me
like
just
my burned, my emotionally burned
let me
skin
just
to know
tell
that
you, like legit.
You know,
In fact, sometimes it's better to keep the chef away from the
Don't let him touch.
from the cookery. Yeah,
Don't let him touch.
Don't let him cook. 'Cause
well, I
then-
just know that like I have other talents. I didn't learn that until I was an AM sous chef. That's when I really started to fucking be
Right.
like, oh, I love multitasking and starting 7 projects and fucking taking up the whole piano with every stove and pot and pan.
Right.
That's my fucking joy. That's where I fucking learned, you know?
Yeah, and it's like the saucier conundrum. Like now people don't aspire to be a saucier.
Dude.
Even though it's a respectable thing, like being a somm.
What do people love
know?
about French restaurants? The sauce work. It's minimal and it's sauces. That's what people fucking love. That's why one of the reasons why the food in New York is so good.
You know what? I want to have a saucier. Fuck it. I don't care how much it costs.
All right, well, you just hired your own saucier. It's you, motherfucker.
90,000. I know. That's 95,000 a year on Culinary Agents. Saucier.
Saucier.
That's what it should look like.
The most
it will
undefined,
never.
Even though the name in French is saucier is the catch-all for fucking everything. Saucier. Hey, can you break this lamb down real quick? Hey, saucier.
Right.
Can you help pastry out? Saucier. Can you
Help the dish station.
Yeah.
You're tournant. You're before tournant, saucier.
That's before tournant?
I believe so in the hierarchy. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that you go saucier is the last like station,
Yeah.
and then
Tournant's like
once you
before
become
sous.
sous chef there, and then you go to tournant
Oh, okay. It's
to
before.
be
okay.
like well in the original one, every station has a sous chef.
Oh, yeah, I remember
meat
that.
sous chef, then meat demi chef, and whatever the fuck.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're making it through the stations,
Yeah.
it's usually after
Yeah.
meat and veg and fish and whatever the fuck.
Okay, because each one has a sous chef.
Yeah,
on the
so
station.
saucier
Okay.
is like it
You
because
go from
yeah,
sous chef to
because
fucking line
that
cook
station
again, or
got
what?
that station got consolidated.
Yeah.
The meat cooks were making their own stock and sauces.
Well, the fucking meat cooks that don't have anything to do all
For
day,
sure.
right? They fucking
fuck all that shit. I was in the
no,
shit, bro.
you were in a cold room, like fucking NAMP, fucking like, looking at like the fucking breaking down lamb and shit. That's not what a regular meat cook to me is like. Sous chef did all my prep today, so I'm just gonna come in, reboil a sauce, and maybe fucking make pommes puree and talk shit, make staff meal. Oh, it's so good.
You guys want to taste this?
That's the modern meat cook the meat cook that I know is like, I guess I'll start the fire at 3:30 and maybe talk shit to the hot station cook who's not making staff meal right. Don't ever fuck you, meat station restaurant at a Michelin starred restaurant who's like the division of labor is just like not. It's like it's a black spot on the fucking division of labor. You're like, wait, what did this person do all day? Wait, do they just really have to gather meat and heat up sauce? How is it? Oh, they're gonna
Yeah.
do staff meal. Okay, what are you gonna fucking
Yeah.
spend 4 hours on staff meal?
Chef, if you have a not busy station, try not to take a
You know
day
what?
off.
Meat cook-
Because once your people realize what you're doing, they're going to be like, what the fuck?
You know what the meat cooks should do? They should fucking help Garmo with their knife cuts. 'Cause
Exactly.
Goddamn knife cuts on Garmo. For some reason, you're like, hey, let's give this person 600 individual pieces of mise en place. They have to be ready before everyone. And it's the person we hire first. And they have to do desserts. So
Right.
they get fucking double teamed during
Chef,
service.
You're answering the age-old question of, is the brigade relevant anymore? That's why the brigade is relevant. You need a sous chef on garde manger. You cannot
Yeah.
not have a fucking person who is skilled on garde manger.
And think about it this way: the sous chef on garde manger is like that is a probably a minimum wage salary that you're paying someone, and you're telling them that they have value and merit as a sous chef. Really, you have a lead line cook who you're gonna have fucking spend an extra hour at the end of the night doing inventory.
Right.
So like the sous chef on station is fucking bullshit, right?
I mean, it's
like,
on bullshit for some, but you're saying the same thing. Like you're putting the unskilled person on garde manger, and that's the first impression the guest is gonna get. I want a fucking sous chef over there.
Right, but it's like if you're giving someone a title and you're calling them a sous chef.
Oh, yeah,
that's
no,
the
no,
line
no, no.
cook. They're basically
Well-
a glorified line
Well,
cook.
that's
Like,
why the brigade works, because the sous chef has been there.
Yeah.
You know, he's been a chef de partie. He's been
He knows
a
to
commis.
go over and
exactly
fucking eat one of the fucking puffs and be like, these are stale.
There you go.
He knows to
because
check
he's
that
been
stuff.
the commis.
Yeah.
If you haven't been a commis, no, you should not be a sous chef, and it doesn't work in every kitchen.
No, it's
but
different. It's so different now. To me, I'm like, the guy I want doing it is the one who worked the station.
Right.
The one who had worked that station, who knows the tips and tricks. But also that's a personality thing, because sometimes that guy is the fucking master corner cutter. He's like, oh, I worked this station. I got my station set up. I also saw you fucking change labels. So fuck you.
It's usually the pastry chefs who are the sous chefs of the cold side. Just by
'cause they're
default, because
hey,
they're over there.
This guy's hair is on fire.
Yeah,
I mean,
literally.
fucking, what do you want me
What's
to do?
his name?
Put it out?
Brandon?
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Annabelle, fucking take care of this for me, right? I mean, that's what you're going to do. But you need a sous chef that's dedicated to the hot side and the cold side. You can't just, I feel like once you turn to sous chef, full attention on the hot side, no cold.
Well, that's the problem too, is restaurants are sort of aging out of having fucking pastry chefs. And it's like, that's the hardest fucking thing. I'm like, we want to do Bob.
I want a
pastry
pastry
chef. Because one of the things that really helped me become more engaged with this stuff is doing dough work. It's like fucking learning babka and fucking doing all this stuff. Like we worked with my friend Michelle, who has her own pop-up now, Juna. And her partner Vicky does Mothership Ferments, but like, she's like one of the most talented pastry chefs I've ever fucking met in my life. And that's where I learned to fucking realize how essential and critical like pastry is in general. And
Yeah, definitely.
Like, bread work and all that stuff. So it like really makes me value it, and something I want to have at the restaurant.
Yeah.
So.
She was at your engagement party.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I know. The fucking
Nice engagement party, dude. You threw up a fucking surprise. In this day and age,
we had a
she
surprise
think you were cheating on her. I would feel like, what is this motherfucker on the phone?
We had a surprise engagement. It was with all of her family in Half Moon Bay.
Yeah.
And like I was planning for months. I told people that it was happening and stuff, and she had no idea. And Half Moon Bay is a really special place to us, where her dad's from. It's where she lived, go on walks with her family. But she had talked about my friend Mac and Grady's surprise engagement party. And I was like, I think I sort of want to do that. The only reason I did is because I knew we were going to have a family one. I didn't want to take away the chance for her to plan this like special day. So we had a family one. So I wasn't just like,
you're doing it the right way.
I didn't just like close my eyes and throw.
Are you going to have your wedding and her wedding?
Hopefully we have a wedding together.
No. I'm saying like your theme for your, like what you want. Cause that's what happens. You seem like a sensible guy, right?
My theme, yeah. And very much to that effect. My theme for my wedding is Gina is happy.
Exactly. There's some dudes out here though, who are like, I need my wedding to be like this. And I'm like, in that case, take your approach, do 2 weddings.
Yeah.
Do yours fucking dream wedding and then have her fucking dream,
Yeah. And she can marry the guy she wants to marry.
Exactly. There you go.
No, I mean, that was very cool to have all my friends in the room and our friends and stuff and throw that off. And
Yeah.
great. We did like a potluck style thing. And one of my friends works for Panda Express, and she had Panda Express delivered to the engagement party. And I remember seeing Panda Express chow mein on the table next to like a beautiful wood carved block that the Morris uses for charcuterie, and Gavin like He brought charcuterie. I was like, this is the best pairing I've ever seen in my life.
But that's the best part about cooks. Like no matter what background you have, privileged or not, the kitchen is a great equalizer where you all know what the grease trap smells like.
Oh,
you all know what spoiled food is, and that kind of lesson is good for anybody.
You always know the sous chef you trust is the one who's like, hey, I'm like, hey, what is this in the walk-in? They take the lid. Don't even look at it. Take the lid, taste it. I'm like, bro, you don't know where I found this. Look at it first. Don't just taste it.
Those are the best.
I was going to say, what is this? It's in the fucking rat poison shelf I found. Like,
right. You know, I have eaten a couple questionable things and been like, wow, I just ate that out of the trash.
Yeah.
I think there's just that grit that kind of desensitizes you. It's like being a doctor, I'm sure, but by the time you see so much blood doo-doo. And so much whatever, doo-doo, it doesn't matter. It's just like, whatever.
Whatever, wash my hands.
You know,
Everything can be washed off your hands. You know? Don't feel
not everything. Not bloody murder.
That can't be washed.
That got dark.
Bring it back, chef. Come on.
Fuck yeah, chef.
If anyone's still with us here.
I know, dude. It's fucking been, 2 hours and 48 minutes? Our last one was 3 hours.
No way you knew that off the top of your head. Oh,
yeah, I've been recording. Chef. I've been timekeeping.
Oh, man.
No, it's 3:48.
What the fuck?
It's 3:55, chef.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
But we are going to wrap this up. Because, I mean, I think we could talk. I think we could definitely talk for like fucking
talk my whole life.
4 more hours. You already did this. You already told your whole life story up until this point. Now you've told the rest of it.
Wow.
So now, chef, we're all caught up.
Right. Thank
you. Tell the people how we can see you.
Okay, so
going to you.
The pop-up is called Hadeem. You can find us at We Are Hadeem SF, or on our Instagram at We Are Hadeem, or on my Instagram at Platos_Locos. We're doing events all over San Francisco, and with the intent of opening up a restaurant very soon, hopefully in the next year. But check us out. Come to a pop-up, eat some food, and follow Susio Talks.
There you go, baby. Chef Susio Talks. You know what it is.
Important shout out of all.
Fucking crazy, man. I really appreciate you coming on the show, taking your time. Thank you for doing this because I know that you're busy as fuck.
No, I can't express how much, how important this is, how important it feels to get to talk to you about this stuff, and how cool it is just to like have you as a friend and like to have had to talk about all this career and know that like all through that basically whole time it's been to have had you in my like as a friend and like someone I can just bounce shit off of, and like I really appreciate it. And
whenever, man, whenever. It's like I feel privileged that you reach out sometimes with news or whatever is happening in your life, and it's that real Rob Schneider, Adam Sandler relationship, bro.
Hey,
we gotta fucking let's go.
Don't go making fucking assumptions about who's who in that.
Just the looks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. That's good.
That reminds me of a Family Guy skit where they were like, one of you strippers has to have sex with Rob Schneider. Or something like that. Christ. But fuck yeah. Susio Talk, Oakland. Check them out. Bay Area. Fucking, I'll see you next time, chef.
Like and subscribe.
I'm pumping up my YouTube, by the way. I'm looking for not a content creator, but a content manager. I make enough content, but I need a person to help me distribute it because I don't want to be on social media all the time. Thank you for bringing your old menus. Peace out, everyone.
Hey.